meaning of art when time becomes its creator. Introduction. Why art has more meaning when it is connected to time, culture, and religious experiences. Looking at the rich history of Buddhist art, we can see how many cultures adapted a shared religious subject, from the Himalayas and Nepal to many other regions across Asia. Art did not simply exist as decoration, it developed its own visual language and adapted to different cultures, just as Buddhist teachings did. As Buddhism traveled across Asia, it changed in shape, form, and expression. It expanded into many aspects of life and reached people from different cultures and social backgrounds. Buddhism was not only understood as a religion, but also as a path towards spiritual awakening, enlightenment, and fulfillment in life. Art cannot be restricted to one artist, culture, or period of time. It evolves as it travels, and its meaning changes according to the purposes it serves. Honoring these purposes is an important part of understanding both religious and artistic history. A painting may function as a tool for meditation, protection, teaching, or ritual practice. Its meaning is therefore shaped not only by the artist who created it, but also by the culture that created it, the religious tradition that used it. Through an examination of Akala, Yamantaka, Vairapa, and the Pure Land of Buddha Amitayus, this paper argues that time acts as a creator of artistic meaning. As Vajrayana Buddhist art traveled across regions and generations, different cultures, religious lineages, ritual practices, physical settings, and spiritual needs transformed how these artworks were created, used, and understood. These changes show that Buddhist art did not simply progress in artistic technique or realism. Instead, it adapted to the needs and beliefs of the people who encountered it, allowing each artwork to accumulate new historical, cultural, and religious meanings over time. Image 1. Akala, the Buddhist protector. Visual information. The work has a dominant red color, blue accents, and gold undertones. There are many figures in the painting arranged in a hierarchical composition. The central figure appears ready to fight and is in the process of standing up. There might be around 100 figures or more in the painting. Visual representation. Akala, the blue figure in the center, might look aggressive, but he is the Buddhist representation of the protector of knowledge. Akala's aggressive stance is to destroy ignorance. Created in the Kathmandu Valley, the painting belonged to the ritual-centered world of Newar Vajrayana Buddhism and was used for initiation, meditation, visualization, and protection. Image 2. Yamantaka, Alki Monastery. Visual information. The painting appears to have a dominant blue color and red undertones. We see some figures in the painting that are arranged in a way that places the most important subject in the middle. The figure in the middle has blue skin with many heads and limbs, and it appears the figure is holding weapons as he is seated on an ox. Visual representation. Yamantaka, known as the conqueror of death, represents enlightened wisdom to overcome death, fear, ignorance, and the forces that prevent awakening. It is a Buddha representation of a protective anger over wisdom. The painting is part of a large work of art that is used for religious purposes. Image 3. Vairapa, Sakya Monastery. Visual information. Looking at the painting, we see two large main subjects in the foreground, a man sitting on the ground and a woman bringing him a drink. They are surrounded by small human figures. The dominant color in the painting is red, while all other colors are secondary. Visual representation. Vairapa is a representation of an accomplished tantric teacher. He isn't a protective god. The work of art represents Vairapa as he is pointing at the sun while he is receiving more alcohol from a barmaid. A famous story is about Vairapa stopping the sun until his bill was paid. His story is about a spiritually accomplished master whose teachings deserve to be preserved. Image 4. Pure Land of Buddha Amitayus. Visual information. This painting depicts stories and visually informs us of the many things happening around the main figure in the center of the work. There are many smaller figures on all sides of the larger central figure. The dominant color is red, and the second dominant color is also black. Visual representation. This painting is associated with immeasurable life and longevity. It's a representation of a peaceful place juxtaposed with the flames of Akala and Yamantaka. The painting helped people to meditate and visualize what they want in their future. Juxtaposition. We will compare the paintings to one another. As we take a closer look at each artwork, we can see that the changes represent not only a progression in the realism of Vajrayana Buddhist art, but also a cumulative transformation brought about by time, culture, religion, regional artistic traditions, religious lineages, ritual purposes, and the settings in which the works were viewed. This is not simply a representation of artistic improvement, but also of how different cultures used the art and how different places valued particular Buddhist teachings. As Akala and Yamantaka represent wrathful protection, Vairapa communicates the authority of a tantric teacher, and Amateus presents a peaceful realm connected to longevity, devotion, and favorable rebirth. The works provide not only knowledge of artistic techniques, but also information about history, the people who viewed them, and how they were used for spiritual enlightenment. The two most similar works are Akala and Yamantaka because both depict protective figures who appear angry. However, their anger is not destructive, rather, it represents protective aggression used to defend Buddhist teachings, knowledge, spiritual awakening, and enlightenment. The most striking difference between the works is the setting and format in which each was created. Akala was made with distemper and gold on portable cloth, while Yamantaka's meaning was shaped by the architecture, sculptures, teachers, and other deities surrounding it. Therefore, one work must be viewed as part of a larger religious setting, while the other was created on cloth that could be moved, transported easily, and used in religious ceremonies. Akala and Yamantaka emerged from traditions shaped by contact among Western Himalayan, Kashmiri, and Central Tibetan cultures. Christian Luzonitz argues that the Sumsek records a period when newer Tibetan subjects and lineage imagery were being introduced into an artistic tradition associated with Kashmir and Ladakh. The most divorced from the four subjects, Vairapa is a tantric master, not a god. The painting combines Indian tantric teachings, Nepalese artistic practice, and Tibetan Sakya authority. Like Akala, it demonstrates the importance of Nepalese artists in Tibetan Buddhist culture. Unlike Akala and Yamantaka, however, its main purpose is not to kill obstacles. Articles. The Art of Buddhism explains that Buddhist art changed as Buddhism moved from India into other parts of Asia. Although Buddhist communities preserved central teachings, they adapted figures, materials, compositions, and symbols to fit local artistic traditions and religious practices. Himalayan Buddhist art therefore developed through contact among India, Kashmir, Nepal, Ladakh, Tibet, and China rather than within isolated regional styles. This shows that the differences among the four selected works should not be described only as changes in color, style, or realism. Their appearances also reflect local traditions, available materials, religious functions, and the communities that commissioned and used them. The article The Wheel of Rebirth in Buddhist Temples provides a useful way to understand Yamantaka at Alki because it demonstrates how a temple's physical space can affect an image's purpose. A painting placed near an entrance may protect or prepare visitors, while an image located inside a ritual space may support meditation or initiation. The article also connects to the Pure Land of Buddha Amateus by showing how Pure Land imagery developed into an independent subject of devotion. Although Teiser does not discuss the four selected artworks directly, his study provides a method for interpreting them through their scale, placement, audience, and ritual settings. The article Vajrayana Traditions in Nepal describes the Kathmandu Valley as an important center of Vajrayana Buddhism. Nepal connected Indian and Tibetan Buddhist communities through the movement of teachers, manuscripts, rituals, artists, and artworks. Tibetan practitioners traveled to Nepal for instruction and initiation, while Newar teachers and artists carried their traditions into Tibet. Newar Vajrayana art was closely connected to ritual life. Paintings, mandalas, sculptures, music, and ritual objects were used in initiations, protective ceremonies, funerals, festivals, meditation, and practices intended to produce merit or favorable rebirth. These religious functions influenced both the appearance and the format of the artworks. Conclusion. We are not simply looking at works of art, we are looking at the accumulated results of cultural exchange, historical change, religious belief, and the search for enlightenment. Religion shaped the people who practiced it, but those people also shaped how religion was represented and understood. Different cultures did not merely copy Buddhist art. They adapted its imagery, materials, styles, and purposes according to their own traditions and spiritual needs. This essay is therefore not only about what artists created throughout history, but also about what communities did with those creations. Akala, Yamantaka, Vairapa, and the Pure Land of Buddha Amateus demonstrate that art is shaped by more than one artist or moment. Each work contains evidence of its culture, beliefs, religious practices, physical setting, and history. Time becomes a creator because these many factors continue to transform how art is made, used, viewed, and understood.